Failure, a word that crushes dreams, leaves scars, and fills the heart with despair. But sometimes failure isn't the end. It's the beginning of something extraordinary. What would you do if life threw you into the depths of despair? This is the story of a person who faced rock bottom and clawed their way back to greatness. A story of courage, transformation, and the power of the human spirit. Let's begin. Neil Sharma was always a dreamer. Born and raised in a small town, his aspirations were as vast as the open sky. From a young age, he believed he was destined for greatness. Whether in sports, academics, or life itself, Neil pursued excellence with unmatched passion. But dreams are fragile, and Neil's came crashing down in his early 20s. He had spent years preparing for an important business pitch, a project he believed would catapult him to success. But on the day of the presentation, a minor technical glitch caused him to fumble. His ideas, though brilliant, were overshadowed by the pressure of the moment. The rejection that followed wasn't just a no. It was a door slammed shut in his face, along with harsh words that labeled him as unprepared and incompetent. Neil was devastated. The world he had so meticulously built in his mind crumbled in a single instant. For weeks, he locked himself away, consumed by self-doubt and regret. The voices of criticism echoed in his mind, growing louder with each passing day. One evening, as Neil sat in his room, staring blankly at his desk, his eyes fell on a quote scribbled in his old notebook. "Failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of it." It struck a chord deep within him. For the first time in weeks, he began to see the setback not as the end, but as a detour, a chance to start again, wiser and stronger. The real turning point came when Neil met his old mentor, Mr. Mehra, a retired entrepreneur. Over a cup of tea, Neil poured his heart out, expecting sympathy. Instead, Mr. Mehra smiled and said, "Good, you failed. Now what's next? Success isn't about avoiding failure. It's about rising every time you fall." That conversation lit a fire within Neil. He began reading books on resilience, attending motivational seminars, and analyzing his mistakes. Slowly, he began to rebuild his confidence, piece by piece. The comeback wasn't easy. Neil faced challenges at every turn. Financial constraints made it hard to fund his next project. Friends who once believed in him now doubted his abilities. The world seemed to be watching, waiting for him to fail again. But Neil was determined. He started small, taking freelance projects to sustain himself, while working on his new business idea late into the night. Every failure became a lesson, every setback a stepping stone. He learned to embrace criticism, using it to refine his idea rather than letting it break him. There were days of self-doubt when Neil questioned if he was chasing an impossible dream. But he kept going, driven by an inner voice that whispered, "You've come too far to quit now." Slowly but surely, his hard work began to pay off. 2 years after his devastating failure, Neil stood on the stage of an international entrepreneurship forum. This time, his presentation was flawless. His innovative business idea not only won him the funding he needed, but also earned him a standing ovation. But the real victory wasn't the applause or the financial success. It was the transformation within. Neil had become a different person, resilient, grounded, and deeply aware of the strength that lies in embracing failure. Reflecting on his journey, Neil realized that his failure wasn't a curse, it was a gift. It had taught him humility, patience, and the true meaning of perseverance. Neil's story teaches us that failure is inevitable, but it doesn't define us. What matters is how we respond to it. The power of resilience, the ability to learn from mistakes, the unwavering self-belief can turn even the darkest moments into opportunities for growth. To anyone watching this, remember, failure is just a chapter in your story, not the end. Embrace it, learn from it, and use it to fuel your journey forward. Your comeback is waiting. Are you ready to rise? Thanks for watching. I'd love to hear from you. Share your own tips and strategies for staying motivated in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out our other videos for motivation and inspiration.